Situation where 1.1 million Palestinians are being told to evacuate their homes. As they're being evacuated to the part of the Gaza Strip where they're gonna be safe, that area gets bombed.
Yep.
Okay.
So let me ask you a very direct question. Do you think Israel wants to kill innocent civilians?
I do.
You think Israel genuinely wants to?
I do.
What evidence do you have of that?
The evidence is they are refusing to do special operations and instead are relying on bombing areas where they know civilians are at, and then they'll turn around and say, "Well, Hamas is using them as human shields."
So if someone was shooting at you, if someone was, you don't have kids, right?
If an armed man grabbed a family member of yours, do you have kids?
No, I don't.
Oh, do you have? Okay, your mother. You talked about your mother. If an armed gunman grabbed your mother, had a gun to her head, okay, and he is confronted by the authorities, by law enforcement. And the law enforcement, they just decide, you know what? We're not going to negotiate. We're not going to do anything. We're just going to shoot the hell out of both of them. And then they come to you and say, well, your mother, sorry, was a human shield. Would you accept that argument?
That's not the question, though.
Would you?
That is an excellent argument. What do you mean that's not the question? So this is a clip of Anna Kasparian on PBD Podcast. When I had this video out that had the top 10 moments where PBD Podcast was destroyed on Israel and Palestine, Anna Kasparian was one of those moments, and I personally had never actually seen the whole scene, and I'm sure many of you hadn't either. So I put up a video of that whole situation when Anna Kasparian was on the show. Destroyed Adam. I hate Adam on the PBD Podcast. Destroys the quality of the show. I don't know why he's there. But I got this video together. I hope you enjoy it. Make sure you like this video and subscribe to my channel. If you really want to help support the channel, I get demonetized all the time. We are one of the fastest growing channels in the subject. Become a member. It's only $2.99 a month. The link will be in the description below. Now let's continue.
Accept that argument.
You're making up a random story that what my mother is held captive.
Hamas using Palestinians as human shields is not a justification to indiscriminately bomb the hell out of that region, knowing full well that the majority of people who are going to end up dying are not Hamas militants who are underground in the tunnels. Okay? Okay. It's the innocent civilians who are going to lose their lives.
How heartless do you have to be to do something like that? That's insane.
And the flippant behavior that I see from the West in regard to all of those innocent people losing their lives disgusts me. Okay, seeing people having to leave, vacate their homes, everything that they've known, being forced to leave the land that they have. That is exactly what happened to Armenians. That is exactly what happened during the genocide. And the fact that the United States is just willy-nilly providing cover for that behavior absolutely disgusts me. Israel has a right to defend itself. How it defends itself is where we should have that conversation.
You know, a point you just made is that that's exactly what happened to the Armenians. Very interesting point, because the host of this PBD podcast, Patrick Bet-David, he's very big on the Armenian genocide, and he himself, I think, is part Armenian. And so, but he's very, very pro-Israel, very anti-Palestinians. So I want to know, what is this contradiction, this dissonance, where you're very pro-Israel, but then you're also very pro-Armenian genocide, all of that happened. How can you support one and also support the other? It makes zero sense to me.
Sending special ops in to get Hamas? Hell yeah, go get them. But the idea that all of these innocent kids should lose their lives as a result of this, just, I don't believe it. I will never support it. And in the long run, that is going to make Israeli civilians less safe, not more safe. It breeds more extremism. And you have Israel under the leadership of Netanyahu acting incredibly belligerent, doing airstrikes in freaking Lebanon, okay? Talking about going to war in Iran. We're going to bring in all of these Arab countries. You think the United States is going to stay out of that? Hell no. We're going to be dragged into more forever wars. But I just think it's so destructive, so stupid. We're not thinking critically and strategically about how to help our ally Israel while also preventing the reproduction of more extremism.
Yeah, the extremism is never going to go away.
It's not going to go.
That's the foundation of what Hamas is.
It's not going to go away.
It's so stupid. No, it's not the foundation of what Hamas is. It's the foundation of Israel constantly just being so destructive to people, killing their parents, their families right in front of them. It's going to, of course, it's going to cause extremism to anyone. That's what happened.
In their founding doctrine,
let me tell you something.
Their entire doctrine is to eliminate every Jew that lives in Israel.
Let me explain.
Do you acknowledge the founding doctrine of what Hamas is? The annihilation of all Jews?
I hate Hamas.
Okay.
Let me be clear.
So the question is, how do we annihilate them?
Well, you can't find.
I need you guys to understand something.
Nobody wants to see innocent civilians killed. Nobody, including the IDF.
If a government wiped out my entire family, I have nothing left to live for.
That's exactly my point. Like, what do you think's going to happen? Of course, it's going to breed extremism. It's not that. It's not Hamas. It's what Israel's doing to them, to the people.
And I'm real angry. Okay, that is a dangerous combination, and that is exactly what is being bred right now as we speak. As entire families are getting wiped out, civilian families in the Gaza Strip. I totally get that. The discourse in the United States has essentially dehumanized these people. But at the end of the day, they're innocent people in a terrible situation, and they don't deserve the absolute hell that they're dealing with right now, the death and destruction that they're dealing with right now. I want a peaceful two-state solution. This ain't the way to get it.
Yeah, we are in full alignment, full agreement that we want to see zero civilian deaths.
Oh, it's just words. That's all it is, Adam, because he does not give a crap about him. He dehumanizes them all the time on the podcast. He just says, oh, I don't want any, and then he says, I don't want any civilians to die, just to clean up after all the stupid stuff he says.
Nobody wants that. And I can assure you, the IDF, the Mossad, nobody wants civilian deaths.
And yet, when people talk about all the crazy things the IDF is doing, guess who's the first one who sticks up for Israel? This guy.
We're looking for solutions here. If I'm standing in front of a human shield and I'm throwing missiles, bombs, grenades your way, and I'm trying to kill you as a civilian and your family, what would you do? If I'm trying to kill you and I'm standing in front of a civilian, I'm trying to kill you, Anna, what would you do? Hey, we can't kill civilians. We need a peaceful situation here. Or would you shoot back?
I apologize.
No. What would you do?
No, but you are making a hypothetical that doesn't exist right now. We're talking about IDF soldiers
that's literally
in the
what's
safety
going
of
on
their
right
remote
now.
location as they're dropping bombs. That is not what's happening right now.
No.
So we're not having a
No, what do you mean? Adam has he's so clueless. This guy's so clueless.
Conversation about
what about
IDF
the 5,000 rockets that
Are you
were
going to let me answer the question?
Let me answer. What about the 5,000 rockets that were fired on Israel that killed civilians?
Well,
isn't there an Iron Dome that caught literally 99% of them? Like, that's just, honestly, it's just for show. None of that hits Israel, actually, especially where there's actually people living. It doesn't even touch them.
Well, so what do you do there?
This is
you
what
just
we do.
say, hey,
this
look,
is what we do.
Until we identify where this is coming
from, are you going to let me answer the question?
We can't kill any civilians. Nobody wants civilians killed.
Here's what we do. Here's what we do. The United States taxpayer funds the Iron Dome that intercepts all of those rockets, okay? To pretend as though we're talking about two equal sides is ridiculous to me. It is an asymmetric.
And the fact that Adam knows that's the crazy part. All of these people are just shallow-minded. They're just saying things that they know aren't true, and they're just saying it for the hell of it. Like, he knows darn well that there's an Iron Dome protecting him. He knows that. And then he's trying to make it sound like it's equal. I don't know what to say, because it's not even just him. It's everyone. It's everyone. That's a sad part.
War. So I'm happy. I am so happy that the United States did that the United States helped fund the Iron Dome to help keep Israel safe. The point that I'm trying to make right now is that the current effort in basically bombing the crap out of the Gaza Strip, first of all, breaks a bunch of international laws pertaining to war. Okay, so there are war crimes taking place as we speak, and we're here in the United States pretending like we don't see it, even though every other country in the world sees it, even though the UN Security Council sees it. So aside from doing war crimes, we're also creating a future in which Israel isn't going to be safe. Do you get what I'm saying?
No, but at some point, if Hamas is leading Gaza, that is the government that is running Gaza, and their founding principle is the annihilation of everybody in Israel, what choice do you have? The IDF does not want to.
Hamas.
Yeah.
How do you do that?
Go after Hamas.
How do you do that? Give me an actual, tangible solution.
PBD is a coward, just shut up right in the middle between them. When he knows darn well he's Armenian too. I want to hear his point of view on that. How does he support Israel while also supporting the Armenian genocide?
She already said
when they're
special ops. That's how you do it.
Because,
so you just do precision.
Hold on, yeah.
See, Vinny is very consistent here, because Vinny is also Armenian, I believe, but he's actually pro-Gaza, pro-Palestinian. He's actually pretty anti-Israel.
They're shooting missiles.
Because on the 6th, October 6th, 1,600 people died, I think a couple number. Now, in Palestine, it's over 6,000, okay? How many of Hamas have been killed in that 6,000?
Now it's over like 60,000.
Do you know? There's 44,000 in Palestine. How many of them were killed? Because mind you, the innocent lives are at 95%. How much Hamas? When's enough? I get it, Adam. Israel has to protect itself, and we have to support Israel protecting itself. It didn't protect itself that day. Nobody wants to talk about it. So now, how many lives is enough? Hamas killed, and God rest all their souls, 1,600 people that day, raped, killed, everything. So how many more civilians have to die in Palestine for it to be like, all right, we killed some Hamas, but if you think you're going to wipe out all of Hamas, that's not going to happen. So now what's the solution? Just flatten Palestine.
Israel knows darn well they're not going to be able to get all of them. It's just an excuse to continue bombing Gaza. That's all it was. And that's what they did. They essentially destroyed it. And now people can't even come back to anything because there's nothing there. And now people are going to be forced to leave. That's what's going to end up happening. Israel got what it wanted. That's a sad truth.
Just get everybody, pack your shit and get out, because we're bombing everything, because that's all they're using as kids as shields. I'm pretty sure that they do, but Adam, it's not everywhere. The majority of the deaths are women and children, innocent people.
When Hamas is literally raping and beheading children and raping women, okay, give me a solution other than, hey, don't kill innocent civilians. Give me something. You're saying precision defense,
yeah, it's
precision
called special
like that.
forces,
okay,
and we have those people.
When terrorists are embedded in schools, in hospitals, and in homes, how do you do this?
Maybe a beeper attack, the way they attacked Hezbollah. I don't know.
Israel does what is about roof knocks. You've got 10 minutes to get the fuck out.
And where are they going?
Because
Adam?
missiles
and then they're gonna bomb where they're going.
So at what point does the Arab countries surrounding take accountability? How many people is Egypt taking in? How many?
Why do they have to take them in? That's one of the dumbest arguments I see. So there's an Armenian genocide going on. Okay, it's white Christians. Does that mean that America should take them in, or Canada, or I don't know, Romania, or all of these countries? Should they take them in? They're white. They're Christians.
How many people is Jordan taking in?
How many
people is Lebanese taking in?
Israel taking in? What are you talking about?
You want Israel to take in Gazan civilians? Do you know how many times when
but they won't
Gazans
do that,
are
right?
sick?
Because they like to conflate Hamas and innocent Palestinian civilians.
Okay, so here's my question.
Because they're subhuman.
How about this? Answer this question. How many people is the West Bank or Gaza? How many Israelis are they taking in to show support?
Are you
Zero
kidding?
in the history of their country.
You want to talk?
Zero.
Are you sure you want to talk about the West Bank right now?
Hundreds,
the West
if
Bank,
not thousands,
where they are governed by the Palestinian Authority, which works with the Israeli government, right? They are not at all governed by Hamas. At the same time, Israeli government has no problem with the settlers raining terror on those people living in the West Bank, right? Netanyahu has no problem with building illegal settlements in the West Bank, okay? Evicting Palestinians from their legal homes in the West Bank. By the way, honestly answer this question, okay? You have Palestinians following the rules, they're governed by the Palestinian Authority in the West Bank, a situation that could lead to peaceful relations between Israelis and Palestinians.
Oh, really? All the peaceful relations that have never existed?
No.
So you're going on the...
Let her finish. Dude, she's schooling him. She's absolutely schooling him. I'm actually surprised I never saw this. Wow.
Premise that somehow in this magical world that Anna's living in, that peace is possible. Zero peace is possible.
Building illegal settlements in the West Bank, which again is not governed by Hamas, shows the bad faith of the current Israeli government.
Yeah, but
activity in the Gaza Strip right now makes it abundantly clear to me. Abundantly clear.
Listen, if there's anybody that understands...
Entire neighborhoods completely leveled, okay? By the way, you want to talk about bombing hospitals? You think that was the first time a hospital was bombed? They bomb hospitals all the time.
And ask yourself why.
That exact hospital was bombed.
See, this guy says, I don't want any innocent civilians to die. Yet he has no problem. He's the first to stick up for the idea of, he could show some sympathy, but like, wow, that sucks. I didn't, that's really sad. Nope, not a. Why did they do that, Anna? Why?
It's like a few days earlier.
Okay, this alleged hospital that was bombing.
It was
according to multiple reports, according to multiple retractions, was done by Islamic Jihad. But ask yourself this question.
Now, this is early on. I assume he's talking about the Shifa hospital. Since then, multiple hospitals have been bombed. Multiple.
Why would they be bombing hospitals? Why? Because they want to see sick, innocent people die? No. because it continued to remind you that's where Hamas basically embeds themselves.
So you're saying it's worth bombing it if 2 Hamas guys are in a hospital? You saying it's cool to bomb the shit out of that thing?
Where are you getting 2 Hamas guys?
Hold on.
No.
Hold on.
If they're firing rockets and missiles from that hospital.
PBD is such a coward. Literally, moments like these, I hate the guy. Sometimes I enjoy watching his podcast, but moments like these, when he just stays shut because he doesn't want to get canceled, I hate the guy.
No, hold on. There was no rockets shot from that hospital. What I'm saying is, how many Hamas people are just, let's say they're in there. Let's say they're in there with guns. No. You're going to bomb the whole hospital and wipe everybody out, kids with cancer, to take out, let's say 5 or 10 Hamas. That's where she's making a point. It's special forces, and let's not pretend like they don't have some amazing special forces in Israel, and we can support, because we help them as well, Adam. It's like, when is enough? That's what I know what she's saying. So these terrorists were grabbing people and dragging them to Gaza. So with the security that you're telling me at that level, it's unbelievable to me to say that they just, all the IDF, all the soldiers, everybody stopped down, which goes to my point, Pat. I showed you this video before we walked in. Ron Paul, in 2009 in the Congress, on the floor in Congress, I'll let them play this. He is saying that Israel basically created Hamas to fight Yasser Arafat, and that we had a kind of a plane. So I'll let Rob play, Rob, and Pat, we can stop it whenever.
What minute does it?
It's going to go up to a minute. This is a 2-minute thing.
Go for it.
What's happening in the Middle East, and in particular with Gaza right now, we have some moral responsibility for both sides in a way, because we provide help and funding for both Arab nations and Israel. And so we definitely have a moral responsibility, and especially now today, the weapons being used to kill so many Palestinians are American weapons, and American funds essentially are being used for this. But there's a political liability, which I think is something that we fail to look at, because too often there's so much blowback from our intervention in areas that we shouldn't be involved in.
Here it comes.
You know, Hamas, if you look at the history, you'll find out that Hamas was encouraged and really started by Israel, because they wanted Hamas to counteract Yasser Arafat. And you said, well, yeah, that was better then and served its purpose, but we didn't want Hamas to do this. So then we as Americans say, well, we have such a good system, we're going to impose this on the world. We're going to invade Iraq and teach people how to be Democrats. We want free elections.
Yeah.
So we encourage the Palestinians to have a free election. They do, and they elect Hamas.
And they got Hamas.
So we first, indirectly and directly through Israel, help establish Hamas. Then we have election. Then Hamas becomes dominant, so we have to kill them. You know, it just doesn't make sense.
Wow, what a way to describe the situation.
During the 80s,
that's it. You can stop right there. But Pat, like, what a point where they kind of created it to fight Yasser Arafat, but then at the same token, it's like you created a monster.
I mean, we did the same thing with the Taliban in Afghanistan.
Bingo. He was going to get there too.
Bin Laden.
Perfect point.
Yep.
And he was just about to go there. We're creating these monsters, and then we go, oh my God, the monster did monster things, and we're like, how could they? So, and going to my point, Adam, and I love you to death, bro. It's just, and I'm getting messages, mind you, on Instagram from people, Israeli people. They're like, yo, dude, we feel your we understand. We want to know now. When you have John Kirby, the day it happened, going, no. Now's not the time to question. Because I know we're talking about accountability years down the road, Adam, because there's war right now. They're attacking the ground invasion. The incursion right now is absolutely insane. But it's like, I'm not one of those down the road, we'll talk about it. Like you talked about George Bush Jr., he belongs in prison. And if Donald Rumsfeld, I would dig his ass up and put him in the electric chair. That's how much these people killed over 1 million people, soldiers, Americans, everybody. Now we're just supposed to be no, just forget about it. And now you see Bush going up and talking with Democrats. It's like, bro, take your ass to jail. I hate that shit. It drives me bananas.
Would he say the same about Benjamin Netanyahu? Just in this conflict alone, in like the last year and a half, probably killed around 100,000, maybe more. That's crazy. Just a reminder one more time, make sure you like this video, subscribe to my channel, get it out to a larger audience, really helps support this channel. Now let's finish.
Well,
with that. Now, the way the Israeli government and the IDF is going after Hamas is basically ethnically cleansing Palestinians from the Gaza Strip. Okay, look, I'm Armenian. I see genocide when I can recognize genocide when I see one. It is so obvious to me. Like, I'll give you a few examples. if you wanted to root out Hamas, you send in special ops.
I agree.
Okay, that is how you do it. And I'm not saying that as some lefty. Jocko Willink said that. Someone who is incredibly experienced in the military. He's like, this is how you get Hamas. Bombing the crap out of residential buildings, okay, out of that Greek Orthodox church, out of the areas where all of these innocent Palestinian civilians are living in or fleeing from, is not the right way to go.
The fact of the matter is Israel's wanted to do that to Gaza for a very long time. This just gave them the excuse to do it. That's really what happened.
And look, that in the long term will not keep Israel safe, because what that policy of just bombing the crap out of that area and wiping out entire families does is it breeds more extremism. Okay. First of all, I think it's wrong. I don't think those civilians deserve this. Okay. The majority of the civilians living in the Gaza Strip weren't even born at the time that Hamas was voted in. Okay. Most of them, half of them are under the age of 18.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
So the point that I'm trying to make is there is a way of supporting Israel, which I believe we should do, right, without justifying what they're currently doing in the Gaza Strip, right? We should provide them with the intel they need. We should provide them with the weapons they need, with the condition that they're going to carry out these operations, special ops, as opposed to bombing the crap out of the Gaza Strip, killing all of these innocent civilians from a remote location. I think that's wrong.